State regime media known as Fox is seeing Donald Trump's approval plummet. Even Rasmussen has Donald Trump with a -2 approval. That's down from +8 last month in June. All the other polls have Donald Trump in the 30s, maybe some very low 40s. The worst start to a presidency essentially ever, even worse than his first term. So state regime media hosts like Laura Ingraham are out there literally threatening senators. You better do Donald Trump's agenda or else. Here's what she posts in response to a right-wing MAGA extremist influencer named Eric Dowdy, who goes, at least 4 Republican senators threatened to derail Trump's Doge cut rescission package that slashes NPR and PBS funds. Lisa Murkowski, Mike Round, Susan Collins, Dan Sullivan per town hall. Why are you doing this? State regime media host Laura Ingraham of Fox goes, I will be happy to travel to Alaska, South Dakota, and Maine to hold town halls, asking U.S. citizens whether they want to fund this stuff. Would be interesting. What vile propaganda trash she is, huh? That's what you're going to do? You're going to go and threaten them? That's what you think your job is as a reporter? How about you report the news, you loser? Because everybody knows what a propagandist and a bad one that you are. You may be making a lot of money, but you have sold your soul and it looks absolutely despicable. Like this, Laura, when you bring on Laura and Lara. Here you bring on Lara Trump, and this is what you do with your show. Seriously, this is how this is how you're going to be remembered. You bring on Lara Trump, the guy's daughter-in-law, and she's like, this is the most transparent administration in history. It's literally a freaking crime ring. But play the clip.
Yeah, she must have gotten her hair cut a little too short there or something, Laura. I don't know. It's a new hairstyle for her too, I noticed. This President Donald Trump, is the most transparent, as you just pointed out, president, I think, in American history. He never stops, he never misses an opportunity to stop and talk to the press, to engage with the press, to do multiple interactions and takes every question possible.
Okay, then you have Laura Ingraham saying that, all of these people, these lazy liberals and all of these lazy people on Medicaid, all these lazy people in general, they loved COVID. You don't have to work. You don't have to go out. For them, COVID was great. What are you talking about? Y'all were the biggest purveyors of disinformation about the election. Nobody was happy about it. What the hell are you talking about? Here, play this clip.
Happy during COVID. I say this a lot. They love COVID because you can sit at home, you can order DoorDash, the government sends you a check, no one goes to church. But you can go to the liquor store, you can order your pot online, right?
Also,
so the pot, they got justice. Pot, porn, no church, no work, and, DoorDash, and then watch Netflix, binge watch Netflix. They love that.
Looting for George Floyd was also
they
part
love
of the
looting.
activity.
Right? Because isn't that their talking point? That there are all of these people on Medicaid, and all these people on Medicaid, they don't want to work, and they're getting rich off of Medicaid somehow. These 35-year-old men who live in their mother's basement, they're getting rich off of what? Surgical reimbursements to their doctors? What type of stupid talking points are these? Most able-bodied people are working, and most people who are not able-bodied need some form of health care, like Medicaid or what else. And the able-bodied people will need health care as well. And not all workplaces provide health care, Laura. Then they bring on Will Cain right here. Will Cain then says that former President Obama should be criminally prosecuted. This is what they're talking about. And the big obvious elephant in the room right here is Donald Trump's on the Epstein list. And Donald Trump's covering up that he's covering up the Epstein list. So they're like throwing everything out there right now because they know this MAGA thing is a sinking ship. Watch how desperate he is. Play this clip.
So let's revisit this. Back in 2020, a bipartisan Senate Intel Committee report did a deep dive into all of this and found this quote. It's from then Secretary John Kerry, as in Secretary of State John Kerry. And he told the committee that he submitted a written memo to President Obama advocating for a national bipartisan commission similar to the Warren Commission to dig deeply into every aspect of the Russian attempt to interfere with the 2016 election. He stated he was disappointed, Kerry was disappointed that the idea was not endorsed and moved forward, and that rather President Obama issued the tasking to the ICA, the intelligence community, that ended up with what we saw here, that incorporated the Steele dossier into the CIA and the FBI's reports, Crossfire Hurricane, on President Trump. So here's the question. Should we not be taking a closer look at President Obama and his role in the Russia collusion hoax?
Oh, and then you bring on Lara Trump again, Laura Ingraham, and Lara Trump goes, we've got Mamdani. We got this guy Mamdani. He's going to build communes in the luxury buildings. You know, all of our Fox viewers who live in these luxury penthouses, you know what I mean? He's going to build communes. No, he just wants to make things more affordable. Isn't that what Donald promised, but he lied about? Here, play this clip.
But the only people left are the extremists. As you just point out, we have Mamdani, who is going to be the Democrat representative there in New York and could become the mayor of New York City. This is a guy who wants to defund police, who wants communes and luxury buildings and is openly anti-Semitic. You have the Jasmine Crockett's of the party, and those are the stars. But this is why we have to take the midterm seriously. Laura, I want everyone to hear me loud and clear. We cannot allow people like this to become senators in the United States. Look at the big, beautiful bill, right? That would not have been passed with one less GOP senator there. And we need to make sure that we are coming out in these midterms with as much strength and as much energy as we did in 2024, because that's how important it is. We laugh at it and we think that this is funny because it quite frankly is ridiculous, but don't mistake it. The Democrats who are left in their party are so crazy and so radical at this point, and we cannot take anything for granted. I want everyone to make sure that they are already planning to get out to the polls in 2026.
Yeah.
Yep, things are far less affordable right now, right? Housing is less affordable. Food is less affordable. Go to the supermarket, go to a store. You know things are more expensive. You could keep saying 100 times things are cheaper. You've got rid of inflation. It's not true. We know. And now Donald Trump's new tariffs against the world are going to cause more inflation. Like, what the hell are you doing? These are like some deranged lunatics right here. Here we have Fox just freaking out over the fact that Jasmine Crockett, a Democratic congresswoman from Texas, who you all know and love, that she's beating John Cornyn, the MAGA Republican senator from Texas, in a head-to-head race. Play this clip.
A shocking poll shows Texas Democrat Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett is leading in the race for incumbent Republican John Cornyn's Senate seat. Even bigger news, though, the massive backlash over her making the Texas flood disaster all about her. Well, it's not news, because she does that with everything. Even talking about her hairstyle. That's an odd mix of topics.
Of course, Fox needs to bring on Kristi Noem, the dog-killing cosplayer who did not activate the urban search and rescue teams from FEMA within 72 hours. When the storm took place, she waited, until Monday or Tuesday. The storm hit Friday, but she had a lot of time to post images of herself on Instagram, asking the audience, which photo should be my portrait? Miss Cowgirl? Or should it be Miss Blondie? Or should it be Miss Icy? For real, you've seen me report on that. We were the first MeidasTouch network. We were the ones who showed what her Instagram posts were while people were dying, and she was not activating search and rescue. But okay, just say other media networks are fake news. Okay, here, play this clip.
CNN is basically got a report accusing you of slowing the process.
Yeah.
Would you like to respond to that?
Well, there you go. Fake news. CNN again is absolutely trash what they are doing by saying that, because our Coast Guard, our Border Patrol, BORTAC teams were there immediately. Every single thing I was on, they asked for, we were there. The governor and the emergency management director, Nim Kidd, are fantastic. And nobody there has said anything about that they didn't get everything that they wanted immediately or that they needed. And I'm proud of the work that we've done to support that. But, we've got flooding going on in New Mexico as well,
right.
North Carolina. So I've been visiting with their leadership team and spent quite a bit of time on the phone yesterday with the New Mexico governor, getting them resources as well. And that's what we do. And the fact that CNN is continuing to be political and push out fake information and false and information and lies is not shocking, but it's a disservice to the country. It's a real disservice to the country because people start to mistrust anything that comes out then over the news. And then, well, that's true. Yeah, but they just don't trust anybody anymore. And that's not the kind of country.
Certainly we are.
And then you have Brooke Rollins over here. And what does Brooke Rollins want to talk about? Brooke Rollins wants to talk about all of these able-bodied people on Medicaid who are going to be working in the farms, right? At the same time that they've unleashed militarized ICE at the farms in California. Yeah, so all these able-bodied Medicaid people are going to be working on farms. And then she says something about automation. It's the biggest non sequitur. Here, play this clip.
H-2A visa program. I know they are working on that to work to effectuate the president's vision. But at the end of the day, moving toward an American workforce based on automation, a lot of able-bodied adults in this country who are not working, we will get there. But this president, his heart is with the farmers. It always has been. And we will work nonstop until we find the right solution, but does not include amnesty and certainly moving toward the American workforce that he envisions.
And then you have Kristi Noem spreading lies about what the streets looked like under former President Biden. Play this clip.
First up, the environment for these ICE agents. We fear what may be coming next as we are not seeing the rhetoric toned down.
No, in fact, it's getting worse. Some of these Democrat leaders in some of these communities and states are really, really elevating the emotion out there and lying and putting these officers' lives in jeopardy. So I'm hopeful that people remember that they are just upholding the rule of law and remember what our streets were like under the last administration, how dangerous it was, and that President Trump and these ICE officers are going after murderers and rapists, people who are trafficking our children. In fact, since President Trump has been in office, we've located over 10,000 of these missing children and been able to return them back to their family members and to their loved ones, arrested over 400 different sponsors that were out there perpetuating this kind of activity. So these ICE officers are patriots, and they're going out every day and making our streets safer.
And then the acting ICE director, Todd Lyons, swings and misses at this question when he was asked by Fox. So how will people know if it's ICE or they're actually getting kidnapped from a masked intruder? Isn't this also dangerous for ICE? Watch what Todd Lyons has to say. Play this clip.
Something that Karen Bass, the mayor of LA, just said caught my attention when she said, how do we know that this is an arrest and not a kidnapping? I'll turn it over to you. How would she know?
Well, I mean, Dana, you can see from all the video too, right? They say that ICE agents, they're not properly marked. You see them in their tactical gear, in their vest, where, you blatantly see FBI, ATF, ICE, HSI, ERO, whoever's out with us. So the mayor's claims are just totally false. And what she's doing is making people afraid of us. If, LA wasn't a sanctuary city, we wouldn't have to go on the streets. If they turn these criminals over to us in a secure setting, we would not be out there. So what the mayor is doing is she's stoking the flames of this, and she's the one that's making it worse than what it really is.
And then finally, this MAGA Republican Senator Pete Ricketts is asked about the United States cutting off funding to people with AIDS in Africa or pregnant women to prevent their kids from getting AIDS in Africa. And then I can't even think about what the number is of how many people the American government has killed in Africa and abroad by cutting off aid and cutting off life-saving AIDS-related drugs and HIV drugs. And here's his response. Here, play this clip.
You're not necessarily one of those who's arguing for this, but what are your colleagues saying about how they want the rescission package changed?
Look, we're the U.S. Senate. We took the one big beautiful bill, and I told you, by the way, we'd get that negotiation done. But we took the House bill, and we made that better, and then the House passed this. Now we're going to pick up getting spending under control, which is something we need to do to get the budget aligned. And this rescission package is a great first step. But again, we're going to want to have the opportunity to review it, maybe have the opportunity to make it better. Some of my colleagues, for example, are concerned about some of the programs like PEPFAR. This was a program George Bush started to combat AIDS in Africa. We certainly want to take out the woke stuff that the past administration was doing with that, but it also serves a very good purpose. So we just want to make sure that as we're getting this stuff right-sized and we're cutting away the fat of the things that were not being productive, we keep the stuff that is good. And that's really, I think, the goal of my colleagues when they're saying, hey, we want to have a chance to take a look at this rescission package.
And let me just show you, conversely, what Democrats are talking about. Here's Democratic Senator from New Jersey, Senator Kim. Here's what he says on MSNBC. Here, play it.
I got to say, I've covered a lot of natural disasters through the years, Superstorm Sandy being one, and hurricanes and droughts and things like that. It is a little weird that the acting administrator from FEMA has no experience in emergency management, doesn't seem to know that there's a hurricane season. Maybe he was joking, maybe not, and has said bupkis while they're gutting the agency in the aftermath of this and as we prepare for hurricane season.
Yeah, and also, where is he right now? Like, has anyone actually seen him since this disaster in Texas? I mean, we have a completely absent FEMA acting administrator, and he was not joking that he didn't know when hurricane season was. And actually, when I was doing a nomination hearing of another senior leader of DHS, I asked them, when is hurricane season? They didn't know what timetable was. And look, as we're getting into it, I mean, NOAA, our own National Weather Service, is saying that we could expect upwards of 19 named tropical storms, including upwards of 5 category 3, 4, and 5 hurricanes. This is something that's not theoretical in terms of the worry that my state, New Jersey, and up and down the coast is facing. And when we see this kind of incompetence in the response to what's happening in Texas and the horrible tragedy there, it leaves a lot of people in my state and around this country very nervous about what's to come.
There you have it, folks. Let me know what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 6 million.
The truth is more important than ever. Check out our new Truth Over Lies collection at store.MeidasTouch.com. All 100% USA Union made.